It's lights out and away we go!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the GTUK F1 podcast. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Alan.
Hello.
And David.
Hey everyone, how are we doing?
So, obviously, before we start, just remember you can get your podcasts on like Spotify, Amazon, RSS.com, and Samsung podcasts. And without that out of the way, shall we talk about the Austrian Grand Prix?
Not much happened, did it?
No, nothing at all, really. That's it, folks. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.
Oh yeah, it will be next week as well. But I was about to... No.
But let's just be honest with you. It wasn't that interesting until the moment it was.
Yeah, I mean...
But we'll get to that bit. Let's start back at the beginning.
Well, first the dinosaurs came.
I mean, practice one, I didn't see.
No.
Don't think any of us did. I'd
I
heard
heard-
about Verstappen's
I was going to say,
issues.
yeah, didn't Max bring out a red flag?
Yeah, but they managed to get the car back to the pits, fix the problem, and still get it back out in the session, didn't they?
But should he?
Now, I'm not entirely
but-
sure I like that set of rulings.
But should he have been allowed to rejoin that session because he had outside assistance?
Yeah, but it was during a red flag situation, which is where I'm not sure. I honestly believe if you cause a red flag, that should be you out of that session.
I think it's different rulings in practice as it would be for, say, a qualifying or race itself. I think the rulings slightly different. If it happened during a race, then it's a definite no-no because obviously, technically, that car's being handled by a third party, so to speak, to be brought back, and anything could have happened at that time. So therefore, the ruling will say no. Once that's out, it's out.
But didn't Perez rejoin after a red flag situation?
Yeah, last season at some point, wasn't it?
It depends on how. So it depends on how. So if it was brought in the back of a flatbed, dropped off,
It's out,
it's a no-no. In practice, I think it's slightly different. If it's just been pushed back by marshals and things like that, they let it go because obviously they've managed to get the car back without any real. He's not gotten out of the car.
This is what Russell fell foul to. Was it 2 years ago at Silverstone?
Yeah,
Because he got out of the car.
He got out of the car.
Guan Yu's yours massive incident. He got out of the car, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't allowed to He wasn't allowed to rejoin the race.
Yeah.
I think if you stay in the car and the marshals help you, it's different.
Because it just, like I say, because I know that they wheeled him back into the bit that opens or something. They wheeled him back there because he was rolling backwards down the hill. So they rolled him back to the gap in like the side fence. I think it's where they end up joining the grid anyways.
Apparently it was only a sensor fault anyway. When they said they reset the sensor and then the car was good.
Yeah. And then he went out and top of the timesheets with Oscar biting at his heels. And Oscar wasn't that far off him, looking at these times.
No, well, that was it. McLaren's bought a new front wing upgrade. And it looked mean.
But the thing is, the Ferraris looked good.
I mean, I'll be honest, I always expected this just to be Red Bull running because it's the home ground. It's their home, innit?
Yeah.
So I always expected them just to turn up with everything turned up to 11 and walk away.
Yeah, but where the fuck was Perez?
Technically, it's not actually Red Bull Racing's home Grand Prix. It's the company Red Bull's Grand Prix. Red Bull Racing's Grand Prix is actually Silverstone.
Yeah, but because it's Red Bull's home, this is where they'll bring all the bigwig sponsors.
Oh,
There'll be all the.
The
This is where they'll go
A1.
to. Pardon?
A1 ring, innit?
Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
old A1 ring. It's now the Red Bull ring.
Yeah. But it's technically it's their team's home Grand Prix. It's the team's
Main sponsors Grand Prix.
home Grand
But
Prix.
it's like I say, it's the one where if you're Red Bull, you invite all your big
Yeah.
top brass, anyone you care about, all the sponsors you really want to wow.
Yeah.
It's where you'll have the best corporate facilities.
Yeah. I mean, I feel sorry for McLaren. They're still obviously suffering with their hospitality unit issue.
Yeah, it was a fire, wasn't it?
Yeah, from between 2 floors, I believe.
Yeah, I'd heard about that. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they've got spares of things like that. A team that size.
They've had to rent.
Right. I tried to think how much that is. I bet that's not £35 a day.
No, they've had to rent one for Austria, but I believe it's supposed to be back for theirs. Is supposed to be back for Silverstone.
I think they're hoping for it to be back for Silverstone. Because again, that's going to be another home Grand Prix for them.
Yeah.
So they're hoping for it to be back.
Yeah. Well, whether it will be or not is another thing. But, yeah, I mean, I know we always comment, and I've commented this on probably most races of this. Sargent's just a big disappointment.
Hang on. Give him his due. We're looking at qualifying.
No.
What are we talking about? Practice or qualifying? Yeah, I don't think I mean...
Albon struggled, though.
Yeah.
But... Yeah.
Lando. Yeah. Lando struggled. You know, he got 13th.
Yeah.
In practice. You know, so it's... The downside to, obviously, sprint weekend is they only had one practice session. So they got, you think that how many programs they got to try and run in that one period?
Oh, yeah. I love sprint weekends. I love that.
But Alonso as well. Alonso struggled.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed off about Stroll getting that seat back at Aston Martin.
Of course he was going to get it, but we all knew that.
He's a bloody... Yeah, but he's blocking. This is the thing.
Correct.
He's blocking the likes of... Oh, God, who's the reserve? Is it Drugovic or is it Porsche?
Drogovic, I think.
Oh, how ironic. I'm here looking through a thing where they're selling old hospitality and the next McLaren F1 hospitality unit for sale.
Are you actually taking a piss?
Nope, I am not. I will send it. The second one I've just sent. It's genuinely... They might need to go and buy that back quickly. Sorry about this, folks, to derail the podcast. Unless Chris had a way of showing this to the video users, I'm not quite sure.
Not a bad price.
That's in euros, by the way.
You're not a bad price. It's currently in Italy, though.
Which one? The top one or the bottom one?
The bottom one, the second one. The top one was ex-Honda F1, apparently.
It was added in 2023.
So what he's on about is this. I mean, if that's in euros.
That's in euros. 175,000.
Sorry guys, you're gonna end up seeing this because I'm doing a very quick.
If you listen to the audio version, I apologise. This is very visual, but
so it's £148,545 it would cost.
Yeah, McLaren get a unit out to Italy now. They could be back in it with it. They could be back with it in Silverstone in time.
Yeah, so it's like I say, it's 140 or 100 and whatever I've just said. Fuck's sake. But yeah, that's chump change to them, really.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hope they get it back, but
well, they won't get it if it's depending on how bad the fire is. It might be a case of a new one. It won't be a case of.
Well, they're on about repairing it.
Oh, fair dues.
I don't think it's caused as much damage as. I think it'd be just a case of stripping the wiring out and rewiring the fucking thing, probably.
Yeah.
But Alonso, in practice, didn't seem on it. Mercedes sort of did. Alpine did.
The Alpine's looking good at the moment.
Yeah.
Compared to where they were at the beginning of the season, they are looking good.
Yeah.
We've got. Well, it's the impact of a certain person coming back in, I reckon. Not even getting on that one again. I'm keeping my tinfoil hat off. I mean, honestly, I want to, but yeah, no. As you can tell during this podcast, we kind of say what we think.
Really? That's not like us.
No, not at all.
But anyway, we dragged ourselves off topic there.
Yeah. So that was practice. Sprint quality, I think, obviously, I wasn't able to catch any of it.
I watched it back.
I watched it later on, yeah.
And as much as you may sit there and moan about Logan Sargent, to get to Q2 for sprint quali, okay, he did get put a time down. That's not bad going.
Again,
he outperformed.
That is
Albon.
The first time he's beaten Albon. I think it's the second time. I think the first time was because Albon DNF'd or something.
Second time. I mean,
Sauber continuing to show as well that they're maybe struggling a little bit at the moment.
But if you look at the time, timings. I mean, I can't remember which qualifying session it was in or where, but there was next to nothing between first and last, and but on the, I think it was quali one.
There was a Q1. If you ignore Guan Yu's time, really 20th, the gap between first and 19th is like 1.1 seconds.
Yeah.
Guan Yu shows another like 0.4 behind.
I mean, yeah,
In fact, Q2, it's less than a second.
Yeah,
it's close.
Q2.
Yeah.
Well, I just think the Aston Martin in Q1 was looking okay. I don't understand Sauber. I really don't. If
they've dropped badly this year.
I mean, what good
have they dropped, or is it like we said before? I think we said last year with Aston Martin, the others have all come forward, and is it just that they've not quite caught the development curve?
Could be, yeah.
In the right place. Yeah, I don't say they've gone backwards necessarily.
Yeah, but is it that, or are they just giving up because they know they've got Audi coming in?
There's also a possibility of that, is development slowing down and move focusing more on that car.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, I think we said this in the previous podcast, a lot of the teams aren't doing a lot of development for next year because there's no point.
No.
Because it's 26 when the big change comes in. So you're not going to spend a long time developing your 25 car. It's going to be a modification of what you've got now.
Oh, yeah, it will be.
I mean, they're not allowed to work on 26 cars officially till, is it January next year?
I'm
pretty sure I remember listening to another podcast and they were talking about it.
I don't know.
Bernie Collins was saying, I think they are locked from doing any development on 26 cars till January next year.
I don't know. I'd have to catch up with that. I'd have to literally catch up with that podcast because I've been out of that podcast for a little bit, and there's a couple of episodes I do want to go back and listen to.
I just tend to be my driving podcast.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty quite okay. Charles got a DNF and SQ in Sprint Quali 3.
Just missed his time. Well, the car shut itself down, didn't it?
Well, that was it. He didn't miss time. The car anti-stall kicked him as he came out, and it was just he didn't know what was going on. No team didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because of that, he literally missed out by what, one or two seconds.
Just won it. It's going back to that old Buddy Monza situation from a few years ago where they were all trying to time it.
Yeah.
I mean, fair play to Haas. The Haas was looking a little bit racy. Well, with K-Mag, at least. Which
The Haas appears to be is a fast car in a straight line. On high-speed circuits, it appears to do really well.
yeah, it's a bit like
yeah.
it's a bit like the Williams. The Williams is quick in a straight line, but buggered in the corners. I mean, what I will say is the big shock for me was actually seeing the two Alpines get through to Q3.
As I said, though, they did well last weekend. And it's just that morale, that boost, confidence is just carried on.
I'll go more onto Alpine in a bit because, yeah, it's quite interesting.
Compared to where they were at the beginning of the season, they weren't doing great. Obviously, morale's getting down. It affects everybody. It affects their driving and things like that. But they've, as much as we may hate saying it, they've brought that one person in and it's given them all massive injection of confidence, massive boost.
Well,
And
this is
it's going.
I think because as far as my knowledge, he was in charge the last time Renault won a championship.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's officially an advisor, isn't he? I don't think he's like management or anything.
No, he's an advisor.
Executive advisor.
Yeah,
Is his official title.
I mean, next all they need is Alonso back.
Has Alonso re-signed yet?
Yes, he has.
Yes, he confirmed for 24, 25, didn't he? I don't know if it's any further on than that.
Yeah, because there was. Yet again, the rumour mill's gone spinning again because I heard rumours about Sainz going to fucking Alpine. It's like, what?
I think Sanchez is going everywhere at the moment.
Yeah. Sainz is everywhere and nowhere at once.
I wonder though, do you think we'll get an announcement at the British Grand Prix?
No.
Why?
It's a summer break after the British Grand Prix, isn't it? Or is
No.
there's one more in there?
You got Belgium, you got Spa.
Yeah.
You have Spa. And
You have actually no. After Silverstone, you have Hungary, then Spa.
you have Hungary and Spa, so you get two.
Two more. I've read it out.
But yeah, he's the cork in the bottle. A lot of the drivers don't know where they're going because they're waiting for him.
There's also a few of them was because there's still the strong rumour mill if Max is going to say, which I think he is. I honestly do, but they are still sort of waiting.
Why?
I know, I agree with you, but you know what?
Why would
F1 rumours are like.
I know, but why would Max give up?
Unless he has something to believe that's the same Mercury
dominant-
will go out the blocks next year.
This is what I mean. Why would Max give up a dominant car?
I think a lot of the rumours with Max is he's given up he will move, or Mercedes are after him for 2026.
But
That's what a lot of the rumours are. Is Max will be going to Mercedes in 2026.
Yeah.
But
You
then,
know, you got to look at it from Red Bull. You look at it from a lot of people's point of view. Will Red Bull still be strong next year without Newey?
we don't. Well, Newey's had a lot of understudies. There's probably some very clever. He's probably trained a lot of understudies well.
Yeah. That's it. You would think, as much as we all credit Newey, and he is, a genius, he's had a lot of. He's not been alone.
No.
Oh no. He's worked with some big teams and he's come a long way.
But as you say, his time in Red Bull, he'll have had a whole team around him, and hopefully they've been listening and learning.
Yeah.
I think we'll notice him leaving, but I don't think it will be, they'll suddenly be at the back.
I think Red Bull already started noticing.
I don't. I think people have caught up to Red Bull.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
people caught up.
oh yeah. I mean,
McLaren.
McLaren definitely caught up. Mercedes are getting there.
Yeah, but I think Mercedes, we'll see the shift in Mercedes probably after summer. Like we did last year. I think we'll see a shift after summer with Mercedes.
The thing is, though, with a lot of their upgrades are all going to be coming before the summer summer break, because it's very rare that they'll bring upgrades after the summer break.
Yeah, but Mercedes have done that before, usually after.
Yeah, they may do it on the first race sort of thing, but they don't. A lot of teams, once you get the example out of the way, a lot of teams won't bring in other upgrades and things like that because it's just pointless them doing it.
They won't. But what I'm saying is, you'll probably see a stronger Mercedes after the summer break.
I think we're seeing a pretty strong Mercedes right now. Let's be fair.
Because they'll get so far. They'll get the development done before shutdown time.
I think they worked it out. At the moment, Mercedes are currently about 0.2 to 0.4 seconds behind Red Bull and McLaren. Which doesn't sound a lot, I know. But in racing terms, that's a big gap.
In the world of F1, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I do want to say something, though, about sprint quali. Where was Ferrari? Where was Ferrari? I mean, you had Sainz in fifth, but obviously Leclerc and his little incident, but
That's the thing, though. You don't know what sort of time Charles could have put up there. Could he been in the mix? Could he be in the top 4, top 5 anyway? We haven't put the time up. You can't sit there and we know it's quick on one lap. We know that, but
the Ferrari didn't look strong. For some reason, it just didn't look strong. Even like practice, yes, it did. But then I think the problem is with Ferrari is it has better qualifying pace than race. It seems.
Well, I said Charles Leclerc was the ultimate sort of one-lap guy, wasn't he?
Yeah.
This year, it seems like Ferrari have been more. Obviously, you've got to exclude Monaco because Monaco's just like a fucking procession these days. If you put it on pole, there's a chance you're going to win the race at Monaco because of the way that track is. But if you look back through all the races and stuff, the Ferrari has been a good one-lap car, but not had so good race pace at times. You may agree, you may disagree.
I mean, I'm just having a look at the. They're second in constructors.
For now.
291 to McLaren's 268.
Yeah, McLaren will catch, I think. I think McLaren will overtake them.
McLaren, I think Mercedes down to a million miles away as well at this point, aren't they? So
just 196.
that's not a big gap.
No.
We used less than 100.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, again, George
was in the right place at the right time.
outshone Lewis in sprint qualifying. He outqualified him again.
Oh, yeah.
But then don't forget, he is Mr. Saturday.
I'm sure he loves having that title.
But
You can't take that. You can't take that away from him.
But
You know,
has he
when he's
not
back in Williams-
lost? Yeah, but has he not lost that title? Have they stopped? Because I'm sure they've stopped calling him that, haven't they?
No, they do tend to call him from time to time. It's not as regular now from when he was back in his Williams days, but he's still Mr. Saturday.
Yeah. And obviously, so basically, yeah, we get move on to like the sprint grid. Obviously, apart from, like I say, Albon having to start in the pit lane.
Yeah.
I think it was literally just to change. It wasn't because of a problem, it was just because they wanted to change the car, wasn't it?
Yeah, they just
Car modified
they
after park.
modified.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they modified the setup. How embarrassed must the FIA feel? Dumbasses.
What with the
Photographers.
yeah.
They had to do two.
Oh, is that what caused that abort?
Yeah,
that.
it was
too close to
photographers were in the wrong spot. They were in an unsafe
right.
spot. That's what caused it.
Right, I actually didn't know. I was
Yeah.
surprised everybody when all of a sudden you got the 3 flashing red lights rather than the...
Mm.
Nobody knew to start with. It was only later confirmed into the race itself that
Right.
the photographers were, the press were in the wrong, or were too close to the track, and were it was an unsafe spot for them to be in.
Fair enough.
Basically, they'd assigned them to a danger zone rather than a safe zone. But what did you guys think of the sprint?
Had a couple of moments, but wasn't an absolute thriller.
No, it wasn't. I mean, the first couple of laps were interesting with Norris and Verstappen again in the sprint, and then obviously Oscar being in the right place at the right time. Could he have had both cars? Possibly. But again, it's good to see that they're letting the McLaren drivers battle.
Yeah.
You know, Gasly was there, perfect timing, sees an opportunity, he can go for it. Which you don't blame him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, I think any driver would have done exactly the same thing.
But I mean,
But-
yeah, again, Sauber, shite.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
you think Albon started in the pit and managed to finish 17th.
Yeah. Obviously, you know, Yuki beat Danny Rick.
Joel beat Alonso.
Yeah, Alonso, from what I obviously was seeing, Alonso just didn't seem to have it at this point.
Difficult weekend for him.
Yeah, he just seemed to not.
Which everyone has from time to time.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously the other rumour mill is, you know, is Ricardo going to be safe?
Right.
Because will they bring Liam Lawson in? Which, to be honest, this is going to hurt to say, but I would like to see Liam Lawson in that car rather than Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, Danny Rick's attitude is always spot on. You know, you will never see him with a down face, even if he's crashed out,
Yeah.
caused a major accident. He'll still have a massive smile on his face.
Yeah.
You know, he's that sort of bloke. His energy is so. It's there.
Oh.
You can tell. You know, it's vibrant. He's always happy. He's always bubbly. But as a driver at the moment, I think he's not got it. I think him having that year out, time out, it didn't help him.
No.
No, I know what you're saying.
And then obviously he had the accident. It's nearly been a year since that accident. He had
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
And for me, I think he should have stayed out for the rest of that season. Just let him finish it off. So if you have all the races left.
Yeah, well, I think we
Yeah,
said that at the time.
Yeah.
You know. But obviously, Power's
Well, like,
high up.
It wasn't that. It's probably freaking Marco again.
It was. But
Which the problem,
again,
but the problem was Liam was performing unlike. We'll go back to De Vries. He never got a chance.
Latifi.
What?
Well, the old Latifi days when he just hadn't held seats.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Stroll then, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, De Vries didn't get given that chance. He did have a great car with him, but he wasn't given a proper chance.
No.
And that's when they bought Danny Rick back in, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's when they brought Danny Rick in, and then
First race back in and gets taken out, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And they should have kept with Lawson. Pure and simple. He was driving fantastic in that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also depended on Lawson's scheduling with his Super Formula or whatever the hell it was as well.
There is also the side of it of sponsorships, which you have to notice, which we don't like it.
Yeah.
It depends. Maybe Danny Rick brings in money from Australia.
Yeah, but what the hell does Stroll bring in?
I think Danny brings him in.
But this is the thing. Yes, he's re-signed. We don't know how long he's signed for.
They never sort of announce it, do they? Until he gets bored, basically, and Daddy buys him something else.
Yeah, that's the thing. Not with him. Not with Stroll. They don't say, oh. But I think it's a class as a multi-year deal. Is all they've said about it. But it's like, right, so is that 2026, 27, 28, 29?
Well, this is the thing. With Stroll, nobody ever knows what his contract is. All the other drivers, exactly
how long they've got.
Yeah.
Except that little prick.
But when it comes to Stroll, nobody knows what his contract is actually saying.
No. I'm sorry, but it should be all This is another thing that fucking pisses me off about Formula One. Every contract, if it's been put out publicly, should be stated how long the length of that contract is. Not the secret, it's a multi-year deal. None of that bollocks. Just get his number out there. Stroll signed for 2 fucking years.
Yeah, I agree.
End of story. Just because your dad owns a fucking race team. Jesus Christ. He needs to... Stroll
only had the Williams seat was because his dad bought it.
Wasn't Williams, it was BWT, wasn't it? But the Racing Point.
No, didn't he start at Williams, though?
I think he did, yeah. I think.
Yeah, he probably got...
Daddy paid $1 million.
Yeah, well, why am I not fucking surprised?
And then they went to BWT because that's when they changed it to...
Well, they went to Racing Point, didn't they? Because he bought out...
He bought out Racing Point.
Who was it, though?
Force India.
Yeah. So it's Force India, then it went to Racing Point, and now Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which... Yeah, no. He's, in my eyes, he's now seat blocking, unfortunately. They can't just say, all right, well, let's bring an experienced driver alongside Stroll. Because he doesn't fucking learn anything.
He's an experienced driver now.
In theory,
not a
yeah.
newcomer.
Bullshit.
No, he is. I mean, he's 8 or 9 years into the sport at this point.
Yeah, because Daddy's fucking kept him in it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He's not a newcomer.
Yeah, but he hasn't got the like I say, he hasn't got the experience of likes of Alonso though.
Oh no, he hasn't. No, but I'm saying,
You know,
to me, a new
sorry.
driver his first couple of years.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. You would not put Stroll as a team leader. I would not have him as a team leader.
Oh no, no way.
Not if you're going to bring a rookie in.
So Stroll's been racing. His first race was 2017 in F1.
Right. With?
Bear with me, I will find it. Williams.
Yeah, so like we said. Okay.
Well, like Alan said.
He was with Massa.
Yeah, Massa was the more experienced driver.
Hmm.
David, what are you clicking at?
I'm not clicking anything. I'm just going through tabs. We're keeping an eye on like information, like Alan's doing.
Yeah, but I can't
he-
hear. I can't hear his clicks.
He was with Williams
I don't know why you can hear mine, 'cause I
2006
can't.
and
I can't.
2008. He was with him 2 years.
Yeah. But like I said, since coming into Racing Point, we've never known his exact contract length. Since his dad's got hold of team, you've never known his contract length.
Hmm.
Which, what's stopping any other driver turning around? Well, if he's not giving out the exact date, why should we? There's nothing stopping any other driver doing it.
Oh no.
But why should he be the exception?
Because Daddy owns the team.
I mean, he's had what? 1 pole position, 3 podiums, 285 career points, and 154 starts.
And how many accidents has he had in them times?
That doesn't tell me, unfortunately.
No, but this is what I mean. How many accidents? How many stupid, dangerous moves has he had? You know, when he sent Alonso flying into the air.
Yeah. And then they ended up teammates.
You know, things like that. I'm sorry, I would not want a rookie driver alongside him if that is the way that he drives.
If you notice, Aston Martin haven't done that, so I think they maybe kind of agree with you a little bit.
No, I know, but this is what I mean. This is why, like, the likes of Alonso, you know what I mean? It's just...
Oh, here's a bit of fun for you, bit of an interesting fact for you. So, also, Stroll drove for Williams' team in 2017 season.
Yeah.
It is reported that Stroll's father paid $80 million to Williams prior to his Formula One debut. Stroll crashed in practice for his debut race and received a grid penalty as it necessitated an unscheduled gearbox change. He retired from the race for a brake failure. 2 more retirements followed after collisions with Perez at the Chinese Grand Prix and Sainz at the Bahrain.
Right.
Stroll's first race finish came at the Russian Grand Prix where he finished in 11th.
So, yeah, that's just point in case, really, innit? I'm sorry, but...
He scored his very first point actually in Formula 1 points at his home Grand Prix in Montreal, finishing in 9th.
See, I still say, get rid of Stroll, bring in Drugovic alongside
Alonso, yeah.
alongside
that's a line option.
Alonso. Yeah.
No,
'Cause-
fully agree with you.
It's not... It's like, so who's Alpine going to get when Ocon leaves?
The thing is, it's still open. There's so many drivers that still haven't signed contracts.
Yes, we know this because of Sainz. But They wanted 2 French drivers.
You
Didn't
got 2
work.
French drivers, and they discovered the problem with having 2 French drivers. They're both French.
It didn't work. Because they weren't best of, they weren't seeing eye to eye to begin with, them two.
Still not seeing eye to eye now, but
Well, no.
I think they are the team that which has had the most inter-team crashes of any of them.
Oh, look at Australia. Oh.
All right.
look at Monaco.
But, right, trying to get back on subject now.
Qualifying.
The sprint
Oh yeah, finish the sprint. Sprint wasn't much. Like we said,
wasn't
it was the
great.
first 4 or 5 laps. Were good battling with Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen there, but that was it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There was just nothing there.
Yeah.
No, you usually expect the sprint to be good at Austria, but
Mm.
yeah, it just wasn't a good one.
It didn't work, did it? I don't know what.
No,
Maybe the circuit's not particularly well laid out for it, or.
It's a quick circuit, though, isn't it? That's the problem.
Hmm.
So, but qualifying.
yeah, but qualifying wasn't exactly exciting either.
Oh, the timings were good. It was very, very close.
That's about it. Apart from, the only casualty out of it really was Oscar.
Yeah. Lap time deleted.
Because it's all your usual suspects from 20th to 15th. Well, sorry, 20th to 16th is your sort of your usual suspects.
Yeah.
But, well, Stroll going out, but
It's a fairly usual Q1 exit now these days.
Alonso just couldn't switch that car on. I like Alonso, but he just struggled.
He had an off weekend, which is a rarity, whereas some of the others we're discussing here, it's a lot of weekends. Also, it is a rarity that something like that goes wrong for him.
I mean, you had what? George and Carlos put in the same lap times for Q2.
But obviously, George got it first because he
set the time first.
He set the time first.
Correct.
I mean, Danny Rick out qualifying Yuki.
First time in a little while.
But he's got something to prove, though.
What, though? What's Danny Rick really got to prove? Apart from he wants the seat.
That's what I mean. He's got to prove he wants that seat. He's got to prove he's worth that seat. So he's got to. He's
not gonna see if it's not gonna happen.
He's got something to prove. He's got to prove he's still capable of being up there.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like Alonso's re-signed. Has he? Yeah. Alonso's re-signed. Perez has also re-signed. But Perez still has a lot to fucking prove. As well.
Yeah.
Even though Perez re-signed, Perez has still got a lot to prove.
But even if you can sit there and say, right, okay, Danny Rick starts to improve. Mid-table, which is where you expect that RB to be. There's nothing stopping them signing Ricciardo. Seeing how Perez does, and they've done it before, swap drivers around.
They've already given them.
They've done that before.
Yeah, but technically, Danny Rick is already on as part of the Red Bull team. He's technically only on loan to the sister team because he's the reserve driver for the main
That's
team.
what I'm saying. They could, in theory, bump Ricciardo up to the main team and drop Perez down to the sister team.
What's the point? What's the point? Perez isn't going to gain anything from that. Perez will lose out for that. Danny Rick's not going to gain anything from it.
But if Perez has got, but this is what I'm saying. If that's something they could, in theory, do. They could put that to Ricciardo. You do well. Perez isn't performing as well as we like. We may have to switch you around. You know, it's not the first time they don't start of the season. Perez may start with Red Bull if he's not performing, but Ricciardo is. They've done it before. They'll switch him halfway through the season.
But the difference, is though, is what I will say now. Is Perez is still getting the points for the constructors.
They all reckon that Perez is re-signing is also a way to try and placate Max a little bit, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, a teammate that isn't going to put him up a huge amount of competition.
Well, go back to the Mercedes, Hamilton and Bottas. That's what it feels like here. Perez is just playing second fiddle to Max.
Perez just a gunner, basically. You know, he's there. If he can get up towards the top, then he'll be there to use as a blocker. You know, gunner. So just to slow the rest of the field down, let Max get off the front, and then.
But he's not. That's the thing. Perez isn't.
Oh, no.
He had such a good start towards the start of the season. And it's just fell apart. But
yeah, I think we called pretty much the exact same thing happened last season as well.
Exactly what I was just about to say. He had
At one point we were talking about was he going to be a championship contender against Max?
Exactly.
And then it all seemed to fall apart.
But the problem is, fuck's sake, is Perez being a bit more affected by all the bullshit that's going on? Really?
Or the
Can he get inside his head a little bit, or?
Well, this is what I mean. It is something. You know, is something going on?
The thing is, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
No, I know we don't. But
no, we hear rumours, we see stuff, but none of it's.
But
confirmed.
this is what I mean. Is Perez letting it get to him and not trying to just go, look, nothing to do with me. Just focus on what I've got to do, basically.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, like I said, qualifying was just qualifying. It just, yeah. And then obviously, yeah, the only person that had to start from pit lane was Guan Yu Zhou.
Yeah, but that's not going to really bother me anyway because he was last anyway, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That's probably why they did it.
Yeah.
Because
obviously the car's not working right if he's starting last, so.
And I mean,
take it out of service to make a few changes and hopefully end up near the front.
Yeah, but
at least the car's got underway this time in the race.
Yeah.
Properly.
Well, yeah. That's one thing I did forget to mention about the sprint was Lando had that bad start. Didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't the greatest start for him.
No.
That appears to be Lando's little downfall the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? I think he needs to get some time in on his starts.
Because it seemed like he didn't have... too bad of a start, but it wasn't
Hmm.
the best start.
The thing is, I don't think you with the way in which the pit's set out, like they can't do any practice starts like
No.
they would a lot of other tracks. They can't do the practice starts at that track.
Hmm.
So it does have an impact on setups and things like that. So yeah. So are we going to talk about the main race itself?
We are talking about the main race itself.
No, I wasn't going to bother.
Yeah.
But
Bit of a racing incident at the beginning.
Yeah, that one was just first corner. I don't think there's any real blame there other than...
Obviously,
who are you
Charles.
talking about? I was going to say. Yeah,
Charles and Piastri.
3-1.
Yeah.
Piastri and Perez on it, and there was also the Hamilton running wide incident.
Yeah, it was Piastri, Leclerc and Perez. Unfortunately, Charles was a bit of as described by... Was it Harry, or was it... Who described it as a jam sandwich?
Harry, go on.
Harry, yeah, it was Harry's like second racing combox, wasn't it?
Yeah. Basically, Leclerc was the jam in the sandwich, and obviously Oscar wasn't going to know Perez was there, but Leclerc knew Perez was there.
Yeah.
Perez then had to back out. Leclerc had to back out. But unfortunately, unfortunately, when backed out, got damaged.
Yeah, so that did drop him back.
Dropping back to the back.
Yeah, because even Sargent pitted on the first lap as well.
Yeah, I think he picked up damage somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he might have picked up a bit of damage from the fallout from that.
Yeah, Leclerc and Sargent were the first two to pit on lap one. But one thing I think they learned as well, that the hard tyre wasn't great.
The hard tyre, the soft was too soft to be anything useful.
Yeah. I mean, the soft was literally going to be, if you had enough time, well, look what Alonso did, he literally pitted.
I mean, Max put their softs on as well, didn't he, after he changed his stuff, after he paid for the puncher?
Yeah.
But I don't know, the race, the race in general was just not great.
Didn't deliver what we were hoping.
Well, no, because
like I said, there was an incident between. Well, Max and Lando was there was an incident in the pit lane between them both. One which I actually missed. That's that.
But
it appears that those two he was bubbling to.
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's Austria has a tendency to cause too much field spread. The DRS is strong round there.
Oh yeah.
But even with a strong DRS, it still causes too much field spread round Austria.
I mean, the pit incident that David was just talking about was literally Max has obviously come in first, changed tyres, Lando's come in second. Yes, Lando did have to sort of readjust himself, but I don't think it was unsafe release. I think it would have been 1 or 2 seconds beforehand. Maybe you could say yes, definitely unsafe release. But I don't think there was enough there to call it that. And the other situation I had in the pit was obviously they pitted around the same sort of time. I think it was there for their second stop. And the Red Bulls was slower. Not by
Oh,
much.
the Red Bulls. Well, it was 4 Red Bull stands. It was like a 6-second one, wasn't it?
2 point. Was it a 2
Well,
point?
Jim Max had like a 6.9 or something like that.
2.6. No, he had a slower. One of the Max's pit stop was a slower time due to one of the tyres not going on properly. But that was.
Which was his second stop.
Yeah, which was when he had his. Was that when he had his 6-second gap?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that brought in. Norris obviously had a quicker stop, and that brought Norris into play.
Yeah.
But that, as we said, that McLaren was quick around that track.
Yes, but the problem is, why didn't Norris do what Max didn't? Norris could have easily stayed out, built that gap, bombed it round the track, pitted. He could have easily made up enough time.
Because wasn't he on the hards by then? Which wasn't, as we said, weren't great. They went back onto the mediums.
Can't remember.
They changed into, so they started on the mediums, they then both pitted and put on hards, and then for their second stop they both put on mediums. And as I said, those hards were all the top teams were suffering with it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Apart from Russell, who, yeah.
they could, like I said, they could have easily just gapped him. They could have put a bigger gap on him. I don't know. They just.
I don't know, because the undercut there is quite strong.
It clearly didn't work.
But we said though that McLaren was fast it was fast all weekend.
The McLaren's got a really strong case to be the fastest car on the grid right now.
Oh yeah.
It's got a really strong case for it.
Yeah, but McLaren don't think so. McLaren still
Even
think.
the timesheets and the performances to me say otherwise.
Yes, but McLaren still think the Red Bull have the slight advantage over them. That's the problem. That's what
Yeah, but
McLaren
as a team,
said.
you're always going to say that. You're always going to say, oh no, they're still better. Because if you don't say, yeah, we're the best, you put a massive target on your head.
I mean, it was great watching them battle.
Oh yeah.
I think more needs to be done with the moving under braking. If you're going to have that rule, you need to monitor it properly.
Yeah.
I think Max done it and got away with it quite a few times.
Hmm.
It wasn't just into that third corner, he done it into the fourth corner as well.
Yeah.
And you want to see him race fair. Yes, you don't want to give up that lead. I get that. But I know when we play it, we race hard and we have fun with it.
Yeah, we're at a slightly different level though.
Yeah. But Max should. I think we saw a different side to Max this weekend when he was racing.
We almost saw a return of the old Max a little bit.
Yeah.
We
Especially
did.
when he, you go back to when he was racing Hamilton. That's when you saw that Max sort of come back, very aggressive.
Yeah. You saw the old Max, not the mature Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You saw the Hamilton, like you said, the Hamilton era Max.
I mean, all Max had to do was let him pass, stay behind him, overtake him. And that's what I reckon it would have been right till the end. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And for me, I would have rather seen that.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you.
I mean, the FIA need to. Oh, they need to.
Yes, I know he got the 10-second penalty, but also trying to block him when he knows he's got a puncher and still forcing him off track.
Doesn't look good on you, does it?
I know some will sit there and say, why hasn't Norris picked up a penalty for driving the car back to the pit?
That's not the same. I know you're referring to the Perez incident.
Yeah,
that one wasn't the same.
Yeah, people question because he was kicking up for carbon fibre coming from the car, which he was.
Yeah,
but it's a completely different scenario.
Not the massive pieces that Perez's car was.
Yeah, but the problem is they can say the same about Max. Max had the exact, had a puncture himself.
Yeah,
it's different.
I think the punches between but what means the punches between Max and Lando was completely different. By the time Lando got back to the pits, his tyre was shredded. Max's wasn't.
Well, they had to shut the pit lane entry. Slightly got confused. They were very late chucking that virtual.
Yeah. That should have been, as soon as those two come together, you saw the punches.
Virtual safety car.
Straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you there.
Yeah, the virtual safety car was chucked way too late. Don't chuck the virtual safety car when they get into the pits. That should have been chucked, like you say. That should have been chucked when they saw both had punches.
What I can gather is actually Lando that said, no, turn the car off. Wasn't the team, it was actually Lando that said, no, just turn it off, we're done.
Which surprises me a little bit, but...
Someone saying, did he serve his penalty? Yes, he did actually serve his penalty before they actually did any work on the car.
Yeah, but the problem is, like I said, Lando's now got it into his head, and he's had that victory. It's like I've said this previous episode. He got that victory. He wants more. He's hungry. He's getting desperate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, who wouldn't be?
He's doing things. He's doing stupid things, i.e., some of the moves that he had done. He didn't calculate them.
I don't know if I got to say he was... Like I said, I think they were both to blame a little bit. I honestly think... I don't think either of them is 100% in the clear for that one.
Oh, no. There's a bit of both,
But the problem is, everybody, they're putting the entire blame on Max for it. Which, okay, maybe I can see why. But, like you say, maybe they're both at fault with it.
It's like because... I know we say when we race, especially between me and David, cars whip.
I say I still stand by. Max will not have deliberately damaged his own car there. That's not how racing drivers think.
But no.
But he could have. Yeah, he was racing. I think he was pushing a bit too hard, and I think they both were.
They both were just going at it too hard, racing too hard. There was 10? Was it 10 to go?
The incident happened on lap 54. No, 64. Sorry.
I'd say 64 is definitely later than 54.
Yeah, lap 64
out of 71. So it was less than 10. Yeah, they were, like I
7
say,
laps left, basically.
Yeah, like I said, things were getting a bit.
I still stand by what I said, Yeah, I still stand by what I said, Let them go back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that final lap, go for it. You've got no choice at the last lap.
Yeah.
You go for it.
It just...
And to me, that would have made it a hell of a lot more interesting. I know that I know the races as late haven't been as great. They have been quite boring with less overtaking, not much going on and things like that. But for me, and I know they're trying their best to make it more interesting.
Yeah, the trouble is, it's not as easy to make it more interesting because then people start saying, well, you're interfering with the racing.
Yeah.
So they can't really win that one.
But I think if those two just went back and forth, people have been on their edge of their seats.
Oh yeah.
It'd have been a bit more thrilling.
Yeah.
But,
Imagine if we'd have had the first 10 laps of me and you in Australia.
but it's just, it's. Problem is, it's not how racing drivers think.
No. I mean,
You're trying to claim they do.
yeah. I mean, apart from that, that's the race. I mean, Hamilton got a 5-second penalty for a lovely drift.
Verstappen got the 10-second penalty. Russell.
Let's also credit the FIA with the bravery to give Max a penalty in Austria. I mean, Christ. I'm guessing they all left via helicopter.
They weren't. The Red Bull team and Max weren't very happy, and they think it was unfair. But I think it was fair.
I do as well. I'm of the opinion that it was deserved.
Not only did he hit him once, he hit him twice.
Yeah.
And it's that whole they've got to be consistent. We know that.
Yeah, that's a joke.
Yeah, but I think they got the right call on that one. If I'm honest.
Yeah, but the problem is the reason why the stewards and the FIA the race control was so fucking hard this year and stricter was because of the shit show that went on last year.
Well, it was only 1,200
track violations.
It took about a week to get through them all.
And that's just the track violations. That's nothing else. That's just track violations.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Like we say, Perez. 7th. Hulkenberg. Some points for Haas.
Mm.
Oh yeah, but, finishing 6th. Fair play to him. Even Magnussen finishing 8th.
Wow. Okay, that's quite shocking. That the fact that Perez only gained a place from his starting position. I mean, okay, yeah, it's still points for the team, but
I think he'd been up and down a couple of times. I don't think it's like he's game 1. I think it was.
Well, you think Perez was in a Haas sandwich? Was the feeling in a Haas sandwich?
Yeah. Surrounded by assholes.
Yeah.
I mean, Alpine.
And we all know them Hasses are bloody good at defending when they need to be.
Oh yeah. I mean, Alpine 10th and 12th.
Yep.
Extremely good result for them.
Danny Rick, 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it wouldn't have been. Really, would it? If Lando had still been in, it wouldn't have been.
No, if Lando had carried on.
Lando and Max hadn't been in it, then yeah, he'd have been. Well, Max did finish, sorry, yeah.
So if Lando had finished, Danny would have got 10th.
10th, which has still been a point.
Yeah. Which is better than no points.
Well, Leclerc.
Yeah.
What the fuck was going on with Ferrari strategy?
And they actually turned around from halfway through and said, "Look, we're on for point finish here." Really?
Really?
After making about, what was it, 24 pit stops by the end of the race?
But they made 3 pit stops.
Was it 3 or 4?
I think it was 4.
Let's have a look. Lap 1.
4. Leclerc had 4. His last stop was lap 16. So yeah, what the...
No, it was that 50. So that last stop was that 51.
Okay, then whatever.
His race number 16, but his last lap was 51.
Alright, I read the wrong bit.
That's
Fuck off.
some distance on a set of tyres.
Well, we've seen it been done before.
Oh, Outborn. It's a tyre whisperer.
We used to call Perez that.
Yeah, Albon took out from Albon for his Australia performance that time.
Sargent was the only car that got lapped twice. But what was going on with Alonso?
What you on about? You got fastest lap.
Yeah.
Didn't fucking count for Alonso, did it? Because he was 18th.
Yeah, but it shook off Max.
Well, yeah, last lap. But
And that also caught the commentators out as well. Both Harry and
Yeah, because
Martin.
one of the interviews he said to Max he still got fastest lap, and I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you actually got. It was actually Alonso that got fastest lap. And if you look behind him, you've got the board behind him, and it literally says on the board that that's Alonso getting the fastest lap.
I still think that will. I think if you get fast lap, you should get that bonus point no matter where you finish.
yeah,
It shouldn't just be a top 10 thing. It should be you've got fastest lap, you have a point.
you know, like both the Aston Martins didn't have a great weekend. Obviously, Yuki didn't have.
No.
Yeah, again, Sauber didn't really.
No, but they didn't finish. You know, okay, they finished 16th and 17th.
Still at the points.
Still out of the points, but you think they started 18th and 20 and pit lane. That's not bad. Then, really, you think back in the beginning of the season they were taking what anywhere between 8 seconds to 5 years to do a pit stop.
Yeah. But do you realise that Sauber are the only people that. Sauber is the only team that's now not scored any championship points.
Yeah.
Williams is stuck in 9th on 2 points.
And that's our one.
RB is in 6th.
Because isn't it just Bottas, Sargent, and Guanyu that don't have points?
It is Sergeant Bottas, yeah, and Guan Yu Zhou.
Yeah.
And Lando is, like I said, still second in the Drivers' Championship. But
I mean, it gets to the point where you've got somebody like Ollie Berman that's got 6 points and currently sat in 14th.
still. But he's actually tied now with Gasly. So Ollie Behrman will, if Gasly scores any more points, Ollie Behrman will be 15th. At this point.
And same with K-Mag, though. If K-Mag scores more points, then he will drop down even more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you would expect him by the end of the season to drop right down.
But even if you sit there and think about it, if those three don't score any points now, how bad does it look on those three?
That's 16th.
When a driver still comes in
And outperforms them.
and outperforms them.
The
Even
car did have something to do with it.
Yeah. Even if Gasly, K-Mag, Ocon, and even Albon, for instance, get more points, he'll still finish 18th.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to see Ollie in a racing car next year.
The rumour mill is the Haas, isn't it? So.
It's a Haas, apparently.
And I think he'll do well there.
But who would you stick alongside him? That's the thing. Who would you stick alongside him? Because you can't stick Hulkenberg alongside him.
Oh no,
He's gone.
there. I'd keep K if they can.
You K-Mag, yeah.
Keep K-Mag. That'd be a good little partnership.
Yeah, but fucking K-Mag's so close to his race ban.
Yeah, if you can get that out of the way this season.
Will he get banned though? When? It's only a question of when will he get banned.
Well, because if you get to the end of this year, some of his points will expire, won't they? So. Pretty sure some of his points are like a bit closer to expiring, so if you can keep out the worst of trouble.
But yeah. Anyways, do have to say big, obviously congratulations to Russell for winning.
A surprise win.
Yeah. I mean, I just...
No, it's supposed to still get driver of the day.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah. But the funniest thing was Toto going on the radio to Russell. You can do this, George. You can do it. Just let me fucking drive or whatever.
Did you hear that? He actually talked about it in the race. He nearly crashed when that sort of came through.
Yeah, because he made him jump.
Well, it's because he's basically totally said, "My bad speaking through your braking. It's just got me." And he said that's what he said at the end. And Russell was probably, you got very excited there, Toto. Very excited, and it was. You know, it is that whole excitement. Hang on, we can actually win our first race here.
Yeah.
At a track that they've never really done well at.
On a weekend when they never really looked to have the pace to get near it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have said, looking at their pace overall, yeah, maybe third, fourth, not a problem. But to actually get their first win of the season and be at the Red Bull circuit as well.
To be Red Bull's home ground, basically.
You know, that's a massive boost for them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah. And like I said,
But as I said though, would it have actually been a completely different scenario if Piastri hadn't had that time?
Oh, it's been a few laps sooner and Piastri had a chance to catch.
Yeah. You know, you think that time deleted could have meant Piastri could have been there.
I kind of want Piastri. I was able to see Piastri get his first win.
well, we know he's had a sprint, but still.
His first win as an actual. As much as a sprint, it counts, but at the same time, it's not the same as a full.
No, his main race win. Because George had.
Well, you think Piastri got his sprint win before Norris got his main win?
Yeah.
Yeah, but did George have Sao Paulo?
Yes, he did.
Last year?
Last year. So this was Russell's second win.
Yeah, it was his second. I knew.
I'm just very surprised that Oscar did just, like we say, I don't think he had enough laps to catch him, but the pace of them.
A couple more laps, I think he might have been able to get somewhere near, but.
Because he finished 1.9, wasn't it? 1.9.
But it was fluctuating between 3 seconds and like 1 second.
But let's bring on next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be fucking.
Alan's favourite circuit.
Yeah, but one thing before we do move on. I need to find a clip of that national anthem.
Yes.
Oh, the one Hans Zimmer did.
Yes.
You know what? They do it every year. They've done it the last few years now. The anthem has just been spot on.
That one was like, yeah.
You know, go back to a couple of years ago. It was a very rock anthem.
Was it? No, are you not thinking? Because I had this debate with my other half. Because was it there or Zamvar where we had the woman from Nightwish?
I
think it might have been Zamvar. She was adding to a Zamvar, and I think she.
It was Zamvar.
It's not often I'll say, but I think she might have been right.
It was Zamvar. Then you had, obviously, we had Sam Ryder doing fucking Silverstone last year.
But Austria has always had that. Whenever they do Grand Prix, they've always had that sort of. It's a bit of a nice little rock anthem for their national anthem.
Sometimes, yeah. But that one was just like.
That was just. My mum was blown by it.
I knew Hans.
It wasn't a national anthem. It was just. I don't know what it was.
It was a mix of the national anthem and.
Some classical music.
Mozart.
It was just mind blowing.
Yeah, it was Mozart and the Austrian anthem, but yeah, that was something else. I was just like,
People do it in style, and they do it in style.
If the problem is, he's a legendary film composer, score composer. You've got to look at some of the works he's done: Pirates of the Caribbean, Interstellar, June 2. You know, some of the scores he's done are incredible. So you knew as soon as he said he's doing the national anthem, oh, this is going to be something else, and it didn't fail. It did not fail.
Look at him on the podium when they handed out the trophy. He was waiting to get sprayed in champagne.
Yeah, he did. He just didn't care.
No.
Yeah. Gee, well, this was that freaking basketball star. What he doing? Was he handed the third place? He was about 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
Was that Miami?
No.
Or was
It was
that
here.
At Austria. It was at Austria. The third place trophy was handed out by, I think he plays for an Indian team. He's like 7 foot tall. He's like, hello up there.
It was like literally, if it had been anybody but George Russell, they'd have been on the top 7, they'd have still been looking up at him. Luckily, Russell's pretty. He was another like Shaq.
Yeah.
But unlike Shaq, he was 6'1" built like a beanpole, whereas Shaq's like a brick shelter.
But it's just, it was something else. I mean, I did manage to quickly catch the race notebook thing at the end.
Right.
Russell got Kravitz with champagne. He poured it over Ted.
Good man.
Nice one.
Literally poured it over his head, and it went all down his top. And he wasn't expecting it. It was brilliant. And then Russell turns around and goes, "Oh, you can later on, because he wanted to grab him for a quick interview thing." And then he buggered off, and then he come back, did a little bit of an interview, and then says to Ted, he goes, "You can use my shower later on, And Ted's like, no. And it was just like somebody from Mercedes ends up coming up with a frigging towel for him, because it must have got him in the eyes, and it stinging his eyes.
Yeah.
Well, now on to the fun bit.
What?
The fun bit.
Did you say pit or bit?
No, bit. Bit.
Did he say pit?
He said bit.
No, but did he not say pit before?
No, he didn't.
Fair enough.
Your logo's cleared out, man.
I have had my ears done. Thank you very much.
Get some new battery so hearing aids.
I fucking don't need any of them. Not as old as you.
I can still hear properly.
Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Well, if I can hear clicks. Me and you need to be having words after this, David.
I don't know why, because I can't. They're not coming through to me, so I don't know why you're picking them up.
Because, of course, you're not going to be able to hear them.
It's just me looking up information as we're going on.
So, am I looking at overall? No, I'm not. I don't want to know overall right now. I didn't have a... Fucking hell, David had a good weekend.
You made that sound surprising.
Yeah, but what? I'm confused. What did you so well?
Oscar.
And Ferrari, I think.
Yeah.
Ferrari's my big winner.
Yeah.
But I mean, Alan and Ryan 1 point apart.
And then 3 points between me and Chris.
3 points
Yeah.
in Chris, and I'm like another 18 in front of that.
But did anybody...
Nobody got negatives.
Nobody got any negatives.
Which surprised me. I thought we were going to have a bit more of that with the way things had gone, but...
I think if it hadn't been for the sprint weekend,
Probably would have done, yeah.
then you think
I thought Norris's DNF was going to mess up a few of us.
it would. Well, Norris's DNF would have screwed up me and Ryan.
Yeah, because he lost -18
Yeah.
Yeah.
points, and obviously he lost one position in the sprint. But yeah, I think Norris would have possibly screwed quite a lot of people over if it hadn't been a sprint.
I mean, if I had those extra 18 points, obviously he's my 2 times for me as well, which is a bonus. You know, yeah, you would have come last, Chris.
Oh yeah.
But if you look at overall, I'm still catching you. I'm still catching you.
Well, Ryan's overtaken me.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to let them two fight it out while I disappear off into the sunset.
Ryan's coming for you, mate. Ryan is. Ryan's definitely coming for you.
I've still got a bad gap there. I'm still running not bad.
I still think Ryan can get you.
Oh, it can in theory. Any of us in theory. You guys can get me as well. It's
Yeah, but it's having the.
As long as I beat Chris, I don't care.
Shut up.
I thought it's only me. It's only me you like that with.
That's on the game.
See? Point proven. Point in case. It just seems weird, like I say. Obviously, Ryan joined us late in this, and then
Has made up ground.
made up a hell of a lot of ground.
But with a very interesting team build. You know what I mean? It's a very interesting way of doing it.
Yeah.
But as I said to you before, Chris, about Ryan, yes, he joined us late, but he didn't actually sort his team out straight away. If he had his team already sorted
I
for
think
the first race, he could actually.
he'd have been at the top.
He could very
I don't
well.
think he'd have quite been at the top. I think
No.
I think he'd have been a lot further up than he is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's what Alan's getting at, which I would agree with.
Yeah, but I just need to figure out exactly where I go from here. Just
You
try
know
and
what?
claim some
I'm
back.
I'm happy with my team.
That's it. I'm in the same boat, Alan. I don't think I can do a lot that'll make a big difference at this point.
I mean,
I'm happy
And
with the team, but it's do I pull out any of my chips?
And as I've said before, me and Chris have so many overlaps
Crossovers, yeah.
that me making changes at the moment. If he has a really bad weekend, if I have a bad weekend, chances are he will as well.
Yeah.
So it's
I mean,
like,
for me, my biggest letdown at the moment is obviously Aston Martin.
But the problem is, how many of do you reckon has already used their limitless chip?
Oh, I've used mine.
I've used mine.
See, I've still got that to play for you.
Yeah, but you could have the same situation I have when I use my limitless.
I know. All right, okay. So there is a chip there called the Final Fix chip. Chip can only be used after the qualifying race.
Yeah.
So you can make changes after.
Ah. I mean, I've got 3 chips left to use.
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let me check.
I've only used 2 chips.
I've got 3 left if I don't.
I've got 2 left.
I've got 3 left if I don't use that Final Fix chip. If I count that one out of the equation, I've only got 3 left.
Yeah, I've got 2 left.
I've used my limitless and I've used my no negative.
See, I've not used that yet.
I used the no negative, the one that Verstappen didn't finish. I timed it to absolute perfection.
You know, I've got my extra DRS, I've got my autopilot, and I've got my wild card.
I don't have my wild card. I've only got limitless autopilot and no negative. And obviously, I've got Final Fix, but it's whether I ever remember to use that or not.
That's it. That involves, that can be the difficult one.
Yeah.
So, overall thoughts.
Like I said, not an absolute thriller. So it got very interesting towards the end. I like sprint weekends. I like the lack of practice. I really do. I think it creates a much leveler playing field. It gets a bit more excitement for us.
I agree. Totally agree with you.
wasn't the best.
Oh,
Wasn't the best that Austria's been, but it is what it is. Like I say, they're trying to do things to make things more entertaining, and is it working? Is it not?
like I say though, I always have this big issue. We've talked about how you don't want the FIA overly interfering with racing. So to try and make it more interesting, is that going to impact the racing?
Who knows?
All I'm going to say is bring on Silverstone.
Yep.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Well, we're going to end this one here. So obviously, thank you to everybody for listening and obviously watching if you're listening on YouTube as well. Thank you to Alan and David for joining.
More than welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And we shall see you for Silverstone. Until then.
So long and thanks for the fish.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye, everybody.